Howdy hey, I'm Ever, and today we are redesigning, and doing little rewrites on some warrior cats by putting them into my medieval universe. I've been feeling pretty nostalgic, why I've decided to do the rewrite in the first place. It's really interesting rereading the series with a new perspective as an adult, and I was having a couple thoughts, and essentially this is what this video is going to be about. Yeah. So if you're looking to just chill, draw, you could just leave me on in the background. I've actually been working on these paintings for a good couple months now, so I'm finally excited to actually get to share them with you guys. I spent too many years procrastinating on drawing human anatomy, and now I have to live the repercussions of my own neglectful actions. So, here we are. I hope you like it. So for part one, we're going to be yapping about the world building. And just before we get started, I would like to take a second to thank or show you a word from my sponsor. So my commissions are available in the link below under my link tree. Feel free to check them out. If not, money's not really an option for you. Just a like or a subscription really makes all the difference. Yeah, thanks so much. That's it. All right, back to the video. For those not familiar with this series, Warrior Cats is a fantasy preteen series about the way the cats in the wild woods live in 4 clans: Thunderclan, Windclan, Shadowclan, Riverclan, and abide by the Warrior Code, which is like a set of rules that organize their social structure and roles that they play within the clan. It's also the way the cats live up to expectations, and the way they interpret and bend this code becomes really the point where things become interesting. The adaptation is pretty simple. The cats become fairies, and instead of warriors for a clan, they act as knights for a kingdom. The different social classes become stretched, where warriors are a class of knights that serve the crown. There's no royal family, same as the books. Any warrior can ascend the crown and receive their knight lives. Nothing too crazy. I really wanted to lean into the original book's stigmas of like this loyalty and clan-born worthiness that is like culturally built around the original Warrior Code. The villains are just as important as the heroes in the story, and if not actually my favorite part. So naturally I got started with drawing some Tigerstar. I feel that Tigerstar is a central icon or a character that embodies the idea of the dark forest. More so this deep feeling of shame and terror and this bubbling ambition that is like a parasite taking a hold of the cats that roam this forest. Create a storybook spread featuring 2 designs of him before and after he became part of the Dark Forest. The first one was his Thunderclan design, and then his Dark Forest design. And I want the contrast between these 2 designs to show like the character progression. Immediately, for his Thunderclan design, I wanted him to look powerful, intimidating, but not quite evil. I still think he had a lot of loyalty into his clan when he was growing up, even if though it was very skewed. I wanted to bring the blue and the green for the colors, blue for Thunderclan, and then green would be the banner featuring maybe some foliage native to the Thunderclan region. The Dark Forest design is supposed to show how Tigerstar becomes embedded in the Dark Forest, where the trees that pave the realm become a part of his body, literally. I thought it would be fun to imagine him coming up with like a cursed sword or at like a dead rotting tree, because if Starclan gets to get a freaking crystal cavern, I think it would be pretty fun if the Dark Forest had its own little altar of evil. Perhaps the sword is calling to him, and the more he submits to the sword, he gives in to his evil ambitions until the sword fuses with his arm and becomes a part of him. And grows a part of him, like the roots of the Dark Forest itself. So the more Tigerstar indulges in these acts of murder and violence against the crown, and he finds a sword encouraging him, his armor starts to fuse with his body as he transfers from the first design to the second design. so that his desire for violence is part of his body. So that is all my thoughts for Tigerstar. I'm pretty happy with how he came out, and here's a little preview of the spread. Now, let's move on to the next character. Mapleshade is notoriously all over the place as a character known for writing issues. I thought it would be fun to come up with my own idea for how to explain it, and corrosion was an interesting concept to apply to this. So the idea was that the longer the characters engage with the Dark Forest, or have engaged with the Dark Forest, they start to rot. So I imagine like not every single cat who has lived in Starclan exists forever. They eventually fade into silver pelt, where in the Dark Forest you become molded to the landscape of the Dark Forest itself. Smells like rotten flesh, because this is where the evilest cats in history have gone to die, and the thorns and the stickiness of the environment is not necessarily just muddy, it's you're walking on their old bodies that have become melded into the landscape. You think you're feeling thorns as you're strolling through bushes, but it's their claws that are left over like bones, piercing through the ground, catching on anything to grasp their sense of sanity back. A little bit dark, but it's the Dark Forest, so yeah, and maybe this corrosion is also malignant. So when the Dark Forest comes into the planes of existence, it's not only bringing ambitious cats to take over the clans, but it's this fungus that's spreading into the forest, making everything sick and dying in the living world. Yeah. They try and form attachments to living cats as a means of slowing down this inevitable corrosion. So Mapleshade's writing consistencies become more the symptoms by which she tries to grasp onto her sense of self. But because she resolves her life with violence and murder, these become the only ways she can hold onto herself by committing through those same acts, so losing herself even more. I like to also think that the logic applies to the power of the three, so Jayfeather, Lionblaze, and Dovewing, or Starclan. So eye color, fur patterns, any physical markers all kind of show up on the cats who are touched by the stars. Just like how we like to play with the idea that leaders have a star in their forehead when they get their 9 lives. So that's all I got from my Mapleshade quick detour. It was mostly just an expansion on the concept. But yeah, I hope you like her design. I gave Maple these really thick eyelashes. I wanted it to look like chunky mascara that was running down her eyes. I associate her with all those old maps of wanting to kill her husband. Some messy makeup was in order. So next up we have Jayfeather. He is one of my favorite characters. I've always enjoyed drawing him. I like a character who is upset at the world as he is, because I relate to that feeling. So he was a design that I was really wanting to take my time on. I created a couple different versions of it, and I did a painting to go along with it just because I got really into it. I wanted to get his character design right, something that I could imagine him wearing if he was some kind of D&D wizard. I took his stick and turned it into a staff because it just worked really well and it was such an easy go-to. I saw the ant bully a little while ago, and that one of the ants attaches potions to his staff, and I thought that worked quite well for Jay, because I mean he probably doesn't want to have to run around, he just wants to have things easily accessible. I didn't want his cloak to be too long since he's blind, and I imagine he prefers something comfortable, that wouldn't catch on anything as he's moving around, so I try to keep that quite short, even though in the final it ends up quite dramatically long. I've been trying to put more effort into planning a painting instead of just throwing myself at it. I've realized that with digital art, every sketch has the technical capacity to become a painting, and I used to just go into it indefinitely, and that wasn't really great for your mental health when you have that expectation for every single drawing that you make. So not letting myself get into it that much has helped a lot. Yeah, I'm actually really proud of this piece, so I hope you guys like it. And whether you love her or hate her, our next character is Dovewing. She doesn't have the greatest reputation in the community, and it's understandable why. Her writing was completely underwhelming, to say the least. She was a bit of a letdown, especially when you compare her to the big boots that Holly Leaf left for her to fill. So, to give her agency back into the writing, I decided to take the fact that we didn't like her and make that a good thing. So a big part of her character rewrite for me was expanding on her relationship with Ivypool. I thought that if she were more arrogant, her dynamic with Ivypool would be more interesting, and she would have more of a journey towards humility, and that would be way more rewarding. So this is the last painting I did of Dovewing. I kind of just really like her name, and I wanted to bring her name more into her physical design, and really just like over dramatize it. So this design was actually inspired by pigeons, if you couldn't tell. The iridescence of their feathers I really liked, and I think it was pretty cool. I associated her more with pigeons as opposed to doves because pigeons are already associated with ideas of surveillance and the surveillance state, and essentially that is exactly what Dovewing does. She sees, she hears across plains and clans. Borders don't really apply to her senses, and I think that really works well with a bird that has 360-degree vision. I can imagine that the prophecy found her early as a kid as it did in the books, and essentially she knew she was special and destined for greatness for day one. So her following her heart was more like, I'm just gonna do things my way because I see all, I know all, I hear all, why should I listen to the rest of you guys? And this followed more interpersonal conflicts, which actually gave the Dark Forest more power because she was actually alienating those around her. She just thinks she's better than everybody because she's special. Because seeing isn't knowing, and she learns that she needs to lean on Lion Blaze and Jayfeather to actually make a difference. So I like the idea that as her power became more far-reaching and she had a larger capacity, her fighting and combat ability dropped due to that overstimulation. Like, she's not overstimulated, but it's hard to juggle when you see and hear everything and maintain good fighting combat skills. So, and even though her fighting and combat ability started to drop, her sense of importance didn't waver initially. She's misreading situations and actually putting her clanmates in danger. And actually getting her clanmates hurt because of her brash decisions, and all of this guilt and would lead up to the battle where she's confronted with all of her failings with her sister. So in the final Dark Forest battle, the two sisters have a final showdown where Ivypool confronts Dovewing for all the ways she fell short as her sister. Hopefully in this fight, they find kinship again. That is all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it if you stuck around this long. I don't really know how one records an outro. I guess I'm just going to